Florida. Atlanta, not that far of a drive, so I would imagine he came up that way this weekend, squaring off this round against Brent Cliff.
And we've seen him top 8 Invitational this year as well, Season 2 Invitational in Columbus, so no stranger to success on our biggest tournament circuit as he is playing Green-Red Monsters this weekend. Going to start with a Temple of Abandon, Scry, and pass the turn back over to Clift. Clift is going to sacrifice a foil Flooded Strand. We are underway here in round number 1 as the planes will be searched up. And yes, he is playing Bant.
And this is just a brew. I mean, we haven't really seen anything like this. It's a lot of quality creatures. 4 copies of Soldier Pantheon, Seeker of the Way, Jeskai Wind Scout, 2 Hushwing Gryphs, 4 Fleecemane Lions, 2 Afara, God of Polis, 2 Bramaz, 2 copies of Biden of Thassa, 4 Divinations, oddly enough, 3 copies of Voyage's End, and 2 Treasure Cruises. So just kind of all over the place. Some cheap beaters, some cheap spells, and some card drawing.
Crater's Claws will take care of the Soldier of the Pantheon. This is a Fleecemane Lion. Clift will have to pay 1 via Mana Influence to play that. So it's pretty clear, I think, right away what Mize is up to. You've got the Fireball and the red-green deck, so typically that means a monster's build. The question is he splashing blue? The answer is no, as here's a Goblin Rabble Master. A token will come into play. I imagine the Fleecemane Lion will eat that alive, and it will, and we'll pass the turn back over to Clift. Clift will draw a card.
A lot of quality threats in Brent's list, so I don't think Rabble Master is going to be that problematic for him.
Third land is an island. This is a Banishing Light, so bye-bye Rabble Master. Get that problem taken care of. In comes Fleecemane Lion. 17 all now. Mize will draw. That's a timely one there with the Pelucranos. Give him something to do on the 4th turn.
A bit of a flashback here on Brent's list here, harkening back to some days of Mono Blue Devotion with Biden of Thassa and Afara, God of Polis. But this is just a straight-up brew.
I love a brew. It's a good way to start the day. Land number 4 is Manic Influence. Mize deciding if he wants to play the Rabble Master in his hand or perhaps the Pelucranos. Looks like he's going to go with the Rabble Master, so there's a Goblin token. In for 1 point of damage. Clift is going to go down to 16. We'll head back Brent's way. Brent will untap those 3 lands. Time to draw a card. See what he can put together on his 4th turn of the game.
I think just trying to get in while the getting's good with the Rabble Master. I think that the problem is the Pelucranos isn't ready to go monstrous on anything the following turn. And if Brent simply gets to 5 mana and monsters to use Monstrosity on the Fleecemane Lion, then the Rabble Master does nothing for the rest of the game. So getting a shot while he can.
Sacrifice a Flooded Strand here. He's going to go down to 15. See the life totals. Clipped at 15. Mize at 14. It's been a format full of brews. If you thought it was just a Siege Rhino format, definitely not true. That was proven last weekend and perhaps in round 1 here as well.
I think, for me, the closest analog that I remember out of a constructed format is Invasion Block Constructed, where the format was often just pick 3 colors and go. And people are doing the same thing here.
Seeker of the Way, make it 2. Pass the turn back. So cluttering up the board with some creatures to make that Rabble Master relatively ineffective. Might as well draw a card. Looking at Stormbreath Dragon over there. Heir of the Wilds looks like the card that was picked up for the turn. Still has Pelucranos in his hand too.
An odd collection of creatures out of Brent so far, and still hasn't done anything with that island here. So Logan's definitely in uncharted territory. Not really sure what he's playing against.
You have to imagine he knows that it's some sort of ban strategy. But what are the blue cards? What is the composition of his deck?
Exactly.
No clue. No clue. Definitely gives Clift a little bit of an edge because Mize has no idea what to expect. Mize's deck is straightforward. We've seen this deck before.
Exactly. I wonder if Icewing even could be good in Brent's deck.
Now you're talking my language.
I don't think that card's that far off of being a reasonable constructed card.
Time for the Rabble Master and the Goblins to come in. Goblin Rabble Master will be a 4-2 attacker on this board. And we'll see how Clift elects to block, assuming that he does it all.
Well, the easiest block is just going in front of the tokens. It appears as though Brent wants to trade with the Rabble Master, though.
I wouldn't want to get a Rebel Master off the board, too, if I were Brent. It's a very scary card.
It depends. A part of the incentive to trade here is also, I believe, that Brent has a Treasure Cruise in his hand. So getting another card in his graveyard helps for that.
This is not a deck you would expect to see Treasure Cruise in.
No. But I would also not expect to see Divination, Voyage's End, or Jeskai Wind Scout either. So
fair enough.
There you go. Now, if Brent had something like Voyage's End in his hand, I would have just taken the hit. Because if Logan follows up with just a creature there, the following turn is so good for Brent, but I don't think he has anything to follow up with.
There's Crater's Claws. Air of the Wilds, pretty good turn there for Mize. He'll take one. But he's cleared some things up. Now he's just got to see if he can figure out a way to beat the Fleece main line that Cliff does has, as Cliff will draw a card. Land number 5 would be a big one here for Brent. Monstrosity seems to be quite good against the Greener Monsters deck.
He definitely is. Though, the other line he can take care of if he doesn't have land number 5 is he can attack with the Fleece main lion. Most likely Logan blocks, and then the Treasure Cruise is very discounted. Brent may be able to Treasure Cruise this turn and follow up with a play.
3 mana, so time for a divination. A Treasure Cruise, beep, beep, beep. So we'll delve some things away. We're not supposed to see this today. It's supposed to be tomorrow.
Yes, I think you'll still see a little bit of this today. It's
Some Saturday play?
Yeah. It's more of a dig through time format. Legacy more of a Treasure Cruise format.
Yeah. Cliff will just pass the turn back. His line's back on defense. Mize going to untap. We'll see if land number 5 comes rolling off. No, just a lightning strike. Though that's still pretty good. It's an answer to that Fleece main line that's in play.
And I like getting it off the board right now, as land number 5 is pretty dangerous for Logan. The ground gets pretty well locked up.
He's definitely got some decisions here. I mean, Pelucranos versus just lightning strike. He can curve out, use all of his mana, play the Hydra, or just strike it and get in for 3.
The alternate line is, you know, if he plays the Pelucranos and attacks for 3 this turn, most likely Brent doesn't block. The following turn, if Brent commits all of his mana to going monsters with the Fleece main line, well, Logan can just attack with everything, and Brent either takes a bunch of damage or just chump blocks the Pelucranos, and then the lightning strike in hand follows it up and kills him. So I think this line of play is probably better.
Yeah, you also get that extra point of damage with the Air of the Wilds due to Ferocious too.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. This Cliff's going to go down to 10.
It also means if Logan draws land number 5 for the Storm Breath Dragon, then he has lightning strike left over in his hand to finish off the game.
Sure.
So a lot of good stuff going on Logan's side of the table.
Mize is someone that we saw earlier in the year playing a lot of mono blue devotion. Seems to favor attacking when he can. Now he's playing this Monsters Build, a deck that we saw win Grand Prix Los Angeles many moons ago, as there's Voyage's End. It's going to put that on top. A little scry action here. Haven't seen a lot of green-red monsters, though, in Standard.
It's been on the decline, but I still think it's a very effective strategy.
Yeah. I mean, straightforward, it's to the point. You know what it's going to do, and it's good at doing it, which is play large creatures and attack with them. Little fireballs to get the job done, and lightning strikes, too. These two are definitely in a racing situation at this point. There's a Seeker of the Way. Cliff will have to take 1.
But that unsummon effect was very powerful for Brent there. Trying to turn this game into a pure damage race, and that's pretty close to as good as Terminate in this spot.
Yeah. Mize's draw for the turn. A copy of Boon Satyr. His hand is pretty clunky. Kind of looking, I mean, just really the 5th land, so he can do 2 things in 1 turn, or 1 big thing in a turn, which is Storm Breath Dragon in the air.
I think Logan wants to clutch onto this lightning strike as long as he possibly can to finish off the game, especially because Brent's going to be able to present multiple threats a turn, most likely, so trying to kill anything, any one individual threat probably doesn't matter that much. But if he spends his turn redeploying Pelucranos and Brent has some follow-up of another Voyage's End or a Banishing Light, the game starts getting pretty messy on Logan's side of the table. So he might feel like he has to suck up an inefficient turn here to get something off the table, because the risk of Brent having a removal spell for Logan's play that's his entire turn is pretty tough.
Lightning strike the Seeker. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's get in.
Yeah, and I think this is a conservative play from Logan's side, but I respect it given what he's seen on the last couple of turns.
It's also just very scary because you have no idea what's coming from your opponent's deck. You certainly weren't expecting Voyage's End.
Right.
So what the heck is coming next turn? Who knows? Cliff with land number 5. And that'll turn on Fleece main Lion. And it will. He's going to go down to 5. Now, will he continue to give the beats is the question. Or will he try to hold the road? He's just going to try to hold the road.
With so many cards in hand, I like holding the road. Makes it very easy for Logan here with the Stormbreath Dragon to finish it off.
And that's land number 5, which is timely there because Cliff has to go down to 5 Saturate the Monstrosity. Stormbright Dragon's going to get in for 4 no matter what. That'll put him down to 1. 1 creature comes unblocked. And that is a win there for Logan Mize. Up a game here with his Green Grid Monsters deck over at Brent Clift playing Bant. As we'll turn our attention to the sideboard here. You said his main deck was a brew. I imagine the sideboard is too.
He's got an Erase, an Aether Spouts, 2 copies of Dig Through Time, 2 Kiora, the Crashing Wave, 2 Disdainful Stroke, a Dissolve, 2 Elspeth Sun's Champion, 3 in Hostilities, and 1 Tranquil Cave. I imagine the Tranquil Cave is for when he's bringing in some of the 5 and 6 mana spells here. I like him converting into a control deck in this matchup. It'll be unexpected, and I think it plays very well against Logan's 4 and 5 mana creatures. So I would swap in the Hostilities, the Elspeths, the Dissolve, the Disdainful Strokes, the Kioras, and cut a lot of the small creatures. I don't want to become a pure control deck in this matchup, because pound for pound, his creatures are worse by a lot than Logan. So it's hard to win on that sort of axis. But if he catches Logan off guard with a bunch of sweepers and planeswalkers, I think that can be pretty effective.
Yeah, you've got Divinations too.
Yep.
And it's already kind of a control deck in some form, so maybe do go that route. As we take a look at Mize's sideboard, 3 copies of Destructive Revelry, 3 Magma Spray, 2 copies of Xenagos, 3 Arc Lightnings, 3 copies of Flated Conflagration, that's a lot of those, and a Chandra Pyromaster. Well, I don't think that Mize knows that Clift is going to sideboard into a control deck. If he did know that, I think we'd see the 3rd Chandra come in immediately, as he already has 2 in his main deck. So that'd be an interesting place to start. I think the only card that really stands out here is a card that Logan would want to sideboard in, is Destructive Revelry, simply because he saw Banishing Light.
Sure, although Brent's deck also looked like something where Magma Spray would be good. He saw Soldier of the Pantheon, he saw Seeker of the Way.
Sure.
So I don't know exactly how he's going to want to approach it. I think Arc Lightning may be the safest card to sideboard in, because if Brent presents a lot of little threats, which his deck seemed like maybe it does sometimes, Arc Lightning is going to be great. And the worst case scenario is still going to be able to finish off something like Fleecemane Lion. So I think that's probably the most conservative card in the sideboard he can bring in.
That's pretty safe.
Yeah.
It could also, of course, go upstairs for 3.
Yeah, it's hard for him to be caught in a game where Arc Lightning is completely dead, no matter what Brent's up to.
Well, while we do wait for game number 2 here, as both players are finishing sideboarding and shuffling up, we will talk about the fantastic Magic web series, now paperback book, Cardboard Crack.
We have 3 books available. They're on sale right now for $12.99 a piece. RCGames.com/cardboardcrack for more information. The popular black and white Magic the Gathering based comic strip finally coming to you in book form.
I like it.
I got
like
chuckle.
It a lot. Right in the Star City Games newsletter, you got yourself their Twitter, which I follow, and now 3 paperback books. They also sell shirts now.
Yep.
I didn't know you could do so much with just a webcomic. Just making a living.
Control your own destiny, man.
Absolutely. You can do anything you want. It's fantastic. Now, a little fun fact here. Brent Clift, it's his birthday.
Yeah, we heard it on the floor.
Yeah, it's his birthday. So, Brent, happy birthday to you. We're not going to sing the birthday song like your friend wanted us to do. We're just simply going to say happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's it. Though I do admire his hat.
The Like a Boss beanie?
Yeah. I don't know if that's a beanie.
Or whatever it is.
I don't know if you deem that a beanie because it has the goofy thing on top.
Right.
I think that separates it from being a beanie.
The pom-pom, what's that called? I don't know.
Pom-pom sounds right. I was going to call it a snowball, but that's clearly not correct. So,
Right.
Not quite sure. Well, we've just been informed that we apparently cannot sing the happy birthday song as it is copyrighted.
I don't see that. If we got sued, listen, if that's what ends SCG Live, I can hardly feel like I'm responsible for that.
Singing happy birthday on air?
Yeah, and us just getting sued into oblivion by whoever owns the copyright to the birthday song.
That might actually bring more spotlight to SCG Live.
Exactly.
So maybe
Some
we just
controversy is
go
good.
ahead.
Some controversy is good.
That's true. We'll see. Anything could happen now. We could just throw it in there. Maybe just like a lyric of it.
Well, wait.
If I say happy birthday, do I get sued right now? It's a lyric of the song.
No,
Okay.
I don't think. Copyright law is kind of fuzzy in a lot of respects.
It's true. I don't know.
I think you're fine if you just say happy birthday.
Kind of. I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I enjoy doing this too much.
We'll talk. We'll circle the wagons off air about this, and we'll come
Fair.
on and figure out what we're going
I'll
to
get
do.
the old Google up, see what we can and cannot do. Google knows everything, so. I guess I can believe that song is copyrighted.
I don't know.
Who copyrights it? Who does it belong to?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Look at that. Wow. Ah, yes. I guess that does make sense. That's why at restaurants they don't sing the happy birthday song. They have their own version, which I can attest to due to my working days at Red Robin, where there were 5 different happy birthday songs. And if you didn't know them, you would get reprimanded by your boss.
That is depressing.
Isn't it?
That is really depressing.
Hey, do you know the third Happy Birthday song? No? Well, go roll some silverware.
Wow.
How about that? Also, here's a page with the lyrics to the song.
Who wrote the Red Robin
Probably
birthday songs?
the Red Robin bird
The bird.
that walks around. Yeah. Yeah, the big bird.
They called it the Big Bird because I'm sure that's copyrighted.
Well, no, they did not call it the big bird. They did not call it the big bird. We called it the big bird, but you can't call it that.
Yeah, that's already a thing.
Yeah.
So you can't call it that.
You want to talk about getting sued into oblivion. They do have some good birthday songs, Red Robin. I will give them that. That was one of the finer moments of my job.
We need to come up with a bet where if you lose, your cost is performing one of the all 5 of the Red Robin birthday
Whoa,
songs.
okay, first of all, I'm not going to perform all 5 because I only knew 3. I was one of the people.
No wonder it didn't pan out there for you.
I was one of the people being reprimanded at Red Robin for that. An Elvish Mystic here to start. A couple of Temple of Enlightenments here for Brent. Let's see what the foul play is going to be here for Mize, since he does have a little bit of mana acceleration.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Brent has gone into the full swap for this game.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
It seems like the perfect matchup to become an End Hostilities control deck.
At the very least, he gets to catch him off guard this game,
Yep.
right? There's an Air of the Wilds after the attack with the Mystic. Clipped is down to 19. That's land number 3. No green mana just yet. A Divination would be beautiful this turn.
It appears that Brent has Dissolve in hand too, so I do believe he's gone and made the swap.
Pass the turn back. Over to Mize. Mize will draw. Wooded Foothills is what he's found.
And keep in mind, you're in Logan's seat right now. You do not know what is going on at all. You saw game 1, kind of a weird allotment of cards. Game 2, off to a start that's way different than what Brent was presenting in the first game. So even if the plays seem pretty straightforward from Logan's side of the table, you have to factor in a degree of uncertainty to what's going on right now.
The beats for 2. Sacrifice of Wooded Foothills. Let's see what Mize is going to dig up here. It's a mountain. Our wonderful Twitter followers have joined us very early this morning, so we do thank you guys for hanging out. At SCG Live, hashtag SCGATL. We have been informed that Brent's hat is a toque. T-O-Q-U-E.
Okay.
Never heard that word before, actually.
I'm not either.
Dissolve is going to take care of Air of the Wilds. Now there's another one. You can't stop them all.
And I think now that Logan has got hit with a Dissolve on a pretty anemic threat, it would not surprise me if he played right into the jaws of an End Hostility. He might not respect that Brent has a sweeper here if he was willing to counterspell that. And if that's the case, Logan might lose everything if Brent can find 5 lands in End Hostilities.
There's land number 4 to Tranquil Cove. Gain a little bit of life here. What do we see now? Divination. Logan just says, sure. What do I care?
Keep on generating cards at random and casting them, I suppose.
Yeah. Mize going to draw a mountain for the turn. See his hand, Lightning Strike, Boon Satyr over there. There's also a Fanatic of Xenagos. That's a mountain. Yeah, he will not see End Hostilities coming, I imagine, if it does show up. There's a Fanatic. Time for a little tribute. So we'll see what Cliff does decide as he takes a long look at his hand. Being informed right now, Patrick, that the copyright is held by Summy Company for the birthday song. It expires in 2030.
Okay.
That's a lengthy copyright.
Copyright's going to last for a while. And curious to see Brent there make it a 3-3 haster. Because at this stage, it feels like he's on End Hostilities or bust. So I don't think there's a lot of upside in taking the shot there.
He's down to 7, and I'll tell you, if he has 5th land plus End Hostilities, this game probably goes his way. But I think he would have cast it by now if he had it, so I'm led to believe that he doesn't.
Well, Logan's hand is Lightning Strike plus Boon Satyr, so Brent is not out of the woods just yet.
Yep. There's Brahmas.
And this is not going to be enough.
No. Unless he has a 2-mana spell over there in some fashion, you know, a Last Breath or something like that, and Mize just drew another copy of Lightning Strike. So if Clift ever reaches for that flooded strand, it's bad news. Mize with a little bit of a shoulder shrug says, yep, I'm getting in with everybody. I'm feeling pretty safe. There's a block. Gotta have to do something. Looks like 5 damage is gonna come across. A lightning strike's gonna make it 8. That's more than 7. Clift is gonna take a look at his hand. He's gonna extend it. Logan Mize is gonna win this match over Brent Clift. 2-0, and for number 8 on our Season 4 leaderboard, his Green Red Monsters deck gets him off to a nice start.
I liked Brent's